Reedy's Mail.
Yeah, he has his ear to the ground for all NRL matters, and he joins us live in the
Hey!
studio.
I'm
Welcome,
here.
Reedy.
So
Dragged
happy.
myself out of bed this morning.
We appreciate it, mate.
We really do, because we thought you were taking the mickey.
Never.
You weren't going to come in.
No,
but you know,
I was always going to be here.
You didn't bring a coffee, but it's okay, mate. It's all
Well, I was
good.
running a bit late. I actually dozed off again. Luckily,
Reedy.
I just woke up in time.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's great
Exclusives?
to be here, though.
You got exclusives in your
I've
pocket?
got something for
Let's
you.
get
Bo.
'em.
All right, talk to us. Happy Coruscant ready to open up a contract extension with the Tigers. Is that happening, Reedy?
Well, this is really interesting because the Tigers got a lot of balls in the air at the moment. A lot going on with the Lachlan Galvin situation, but Happy Coruscant, he's off contract at the end of next year, which makes him a prime target for the Perth Bears. His manager reached out to the club recently and said, look, I want some clarity around Happy Coruscant's future. They're going to sit down with Happy next week. They're going to kick off contract talks. They want to keep him. They love him. He's playing great footy. He's very close to Benji. And he wants to stay. They want to keep him. And as I said, that'll start next week. So I'd imagine they'll get that done. They'll knock that over, and Happy will be at the Tigers long term. So that'll be one of those sort of areas of intrigue for them that they put a line through.
By signing Appy, which they will, surely they will, De Silva.
Yes.
Okay, so what, 19, 20-year-old hooker, very close to Lachie Galvin as
Galvin,
well. Not many hookers around,
No.
especially young ones. He's in the wings. Now, if Coruscant re-signs, which he will for however many years, 2-3 years, whatever, what will happen to De Silva? Because will he wait?
Well, I reckon you'll find he may leave, Bowie. I think the Tigers understand that he's going to be a first-grade hooker and wants to play first grade. And that avenue is not going to be there for him if Happy re-signs, at least to start as a starting hooker in the NRL. So, as you mentioned, he's very close to Lachie Galvin.
Yes.
So that's one to keep an eye on. I think my gut feeling is that Talon will leave, if not at the end of his contract, which he's off contract at the end of next year, I believe. It may be at the end of this year. So, maybe him and Galvin will end up at the same club.
Yeah, well,
and
that's the
yeah.
thing, because Woodsy can't, because he's a mouthpiece for Isaac Moses, allegedly.
Well, so am I, apparently.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
Oh,
He's part of our crew, man.
I wish we knew that.
crew,
Hey, hey, Lachie Galvin, right?
Yes.
Now, he's got till June 30th, if they're going to move him, which he's not going to be
That's
there.
for this year, yeah.
That's for this year. He's not going to be there beyond next year.
No.
But there's talk, they had a meeting about it, board were involved, that he could be moved on. Do you think, in your opinion, he'll be moved on before June 30?
Look, I always thought he would go at the end of the year. I always thought he would move at the end of the year. But after watching them on Sunday, my gut feeling is that it's best for him to go before June 30. And
You know what it feels like, Reedy? It feels like that time when Mitchell Moses wanted out.
Yep.
He looked like he was
When he was with
disinterested.
Yeah, that's the feeling I go. I think now it'll happen pre-June 30. I think it's just a matter of working out what the club he goes to will have to pay for him.
Transfer.
Or they'll either have to give up a player or a transfer fee. I don't think a player will happen. I think it'll be a transfer fee. I think they've got to work out a figure.
And with these players moving on, like they're junior players right at the club, Shane Richardson said at the start of the year, we must bring through young players we've got and allow them time to develop. This isn't allowing Talon De Silva to develop.
Well, it's hard when Appy's your captain.
Yeah.
He's arguably your best player at the moment, Woodsy. What are you supposed to do, I suppose? I mean, it's not... To be fair to Richo...
So how long's left does Appy have left on his contract?
Appy's got a year to go.
And then he wants how long extended?
Well, I'd imagine he want 2 or 3 years.
He's 34? 33?
He's 33, but
Is
with
he
the
younger than
form
me? Yeah.
Coruscant's in, I mean, he hasn't slowed up. You look at Coruscant's worst game and best game, and they're all... He's playing 9 out of 10 games all the time. His one on the weekend was exceptional, but they'll keep Coruscant. They need stability there. The Galvin situation's changed everything. It's changed everything.
Well, it does, because, I mean, obviously... They thought they'd have him long term for them. They wanted to tie him up for the next 5 years, but that's not going to happen. As I said, I think what will happen is soon enough he'll get permission to go to market, or Isaac Moses will. He'll go to a select group of clubs.
If he hasn't already done
2
so.
or 3 clubs, and then they'll find a deal. Then he'll come back and he'll go to them. I would imagine armed with a figure that they need to pay to get Lachlan Galvin, because it's no use doing those negotiations if you don't know what the transfer fee is going to be.
Now, we had Mal Meninga on the other day, Reedy, speaking obviously about family of league and also speaking about origin, but the Perth Bears, he's well and truly in the ring.
Yeah.
Now, when we're talking about the coach, there is mail out of England that Burgess he's coming back.
Yep.
Burgess is coming back. He wants the job. Mal Meninga wants the job. What have you heard?
So I got a message last night out of England from a pretty prominent agent asking me what I'd heard about Sam, because he'd heard that Sam had the Perth job.
Okay.
I don't think that's necessarily right. I think Sam's right in the mix for it. I think obviously Sam wants it. We all know that. My gut feeling is that, and we wrote this yesterday actually, that Mal's got his nose in front at the moment for that Perth Bears job. But it's just going to depend on how the negotiations go. They need to get a deal done. Now, whether it's Mal and Sam together as a combination, that's the intriguing one for me. And that's about getting both those guys on the same page. I'm not sure whether they've done that yet. So I think that may be a stumbling block at the moment to that happening, getting those guys to agree on how it would work if they were together.
Is there talk of how, is it going to be Mal coaching director or Mal head coach, Sam underneath him or Sam coach?
Well, I think Sam would want to coach the team.
Surely.
So that's the difficult part, right? Because you've got Mal there, who's a great figurehead, amazing at setting up footy clubs, amazing at setting up cultures within footy clubs. And it would seem like a marriage made in heaven, right?
Yeah.
You've got Mel to set the club up and Sammy to coach the team. But that's working out how that would work. That's the difficult bit. But I reckon we're going to have a resolution on this potentially this week.
And when you're talking attracting players, the NRL will be involved, right? Because if you're off contract and you go and meet a new club, whether it's the Kumuls or you're going to Dolphins when they started, and you're sitting there with Sam Burgess and Mal Meninga.
Wow.
Right?
Man.
Your wife's with you, your kids or whatever you're going over, back into your career, start of your career, and you've got those two of the most arguably influential players in the history of the game, and they're sitting opposite you. Where do I sign? Right?
Well, I think that's part of the reason it's gone down this path, because we all thought Brad Arthur had the job, and Brad was basically told, you are the preferred candidate. But that was before Mal and Sam got involved. And once Mal and Sam got involved, I think the NRL could see the potential of having Mal and Sam as these figureheads of this team. And you've got to remember with Sam, Sam's obviously, I think this team's going to have to raid Super League to have a really strong squad. No one knows Super League as well as Sam Burgess at the moment. No one's respected more in English rugby league than Sam Burgess. Players in England want to play for Sam. So I think that's a huge feather in Sammy's cap when it comes to this.
And what he's doing at Warrington at the moment, he's turned that club around. Reedy, we have a whisper every morning, and today we had a beautiful rugby league.
You got me in trouble with whispers.
Did I? We could be
apologise?
getting you in trouble again, because we might need to see what your thoughts on today's one is.
I'm hearing a Brisbane Broncos star has interest from as many as 4 rival NRL clubs as the Broncos face a fight to keep their squad together.
See, we found that hard because with all the players that you're trying to keep Adam Reynolds. We're not sure which players are going to, because there's a lot of players that could be offered to a lot of clubs up there.
Well, the name that comes to mind for me there is Selwyn Cobbo.
Ooh.
Because he is off contract at the end of the year.
Yes.
And he hasn't really gone to market, as I understand, but there are clubs hovering around Selwyn Cobbo. There's some obvious ones. I mean, he lives in Brisbane. The Dolphins are an obvious one with Selwyn, sorry. He's been linked with the Roosters a lot. I don't think that's happening anymore, but the Gold Coast, I imagine, is down the road. But I believe there are clubs hovering around Selwyn Cobbo, so that makes sense.
It does make sense. But what about Adam Reynolds? Okay. If we haven't ruled him out for this. Adam Reynolds, the Tigers, all right, have got, there's balls in the air everywhere.
There's a 2-year deal there, wasn't
but
there?
there's a Tigers deal there. Everyone, there's half a dozen teams in the NRL right now that would kill for Adam Reynolds.
Yeah, maybe Adam Reynolds from 3 weeks ago. I think Adam's struggling a bit at the moment. Look, Adam wants.
Jeez, you turn on him quick, don't you, Reedy?
Adam wants to play. He wants to stay in Brisbane, and Brisbane are trying to make that happen. There was that rumour about the West Tigers deal. I'm not sure that ever really got advanced.
Sydney's better, mate. Anyway,
beyond
Brisbane.
a certain point. So, look, I mean, Adam's overriding priority is to stay at the Broncos, and they're trying to make that happen.
Hey, thank you so much for coming in. You are the man with the most clicks in rugby league.
He is.
But double the second journalist. So you're a superstar. Thanks for being in here, and hold your exclusives for our show.
Okay, will do.
Thanks, Reedy.